And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, Tickety Boo, everything's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, son. Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Welcome back to Tickety Boo. I'm Andy and I'm here with Iona and Ian, and today we're going somewhere a little unexpected. We talk a lot on this show about doing less, slowing down, not burning out, and that does really matter. But there's also the other side of the coin, and that's when you slow down too much, when you stop doing as much. So when your life is perfectly comfortable, perfectly safe, but somehow a little bit perfectly grey, there's a word for it. We call it BoreOut. And unlike Burnout, it doesn't arrive with a bang. It's just kind of a sense that creeps in until one day you realise you're going through the motions of life and you can't remember the last time you felt lit up and motivated. Today, I would like us, if we could in this episode, to try and find that middle ground before pushing the envelope too far and you're frazzled, and then taking your foot off the gas and then you feel completely flat. Yeah. If you get what I mean. I'll be honest, for absolute clarity and honesty in this episode, I have yet to find that middle space. I think I've got close to it a couple of times, and then I've got drawn back into activity that takes me away from the middle ground. You? What do you think?
I think I've been riding the extremes of both areas definitely the last 2 years.
Snap. Yeah.
But I think that's also a lot of loss in my life, so then having to navigate that and manage it. So it was lifing, and sometimes that's just what happens. I think. And then because of getting so exhausted with what I've been doing, then you take your foot off the pedal. And I think where we have to be really careful is we don't get into that greyness where we can actually start losing ourselves in it, and then our mood changes. So I have to be really aware of that because I have had depression in the past. So I try. And sometimes it's fine to have a Netflix day and lie on the sofa, but when that continues, or if you're saying, oh, but I'm exhausted because I was doing the other. So I try to find that balance because I've been very aware that I've been going to the extremes. I
think it's really important that we point out that burnout and boreout are consistent periods of a certain type of activity. Yeah. They're not like a morning, an afternoon, a week. They are long stretches of that activity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about you, Ian? Where are you at with this?
Well, like we were saying before we started recording, I tend to have periods of sort of high intensity activity. And this time, I'm determined to structure things differently and try and find that middle ground, because what I normally do is I come down to what would be a sensible, normal level for most people. I take a little while to adjust to that because my mind's a million miles an hour, so I instantly assume I'm bored and then go and find something else of high intensity to do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't think I've ever had a sustained period of that sweet spot. Absolutely not. I get this wonderful feeling of achievement when I've achieved something, and I sit on that, but then I chase that feeling by doing something high intensity. So I definitely don't find that
achievement trap that we've talked about before, which all becomes too familiar. And when all the chemicals of that were run down and depleted, you get that sudden feeling of like, oh, something's off and it needs to be replaced with more activity. I am so guilty of that in my life.
But for me, I know what that sweet spot is.
Do you?
But I can't. Yes. For me, it is. For me personally, in my life, I need to have a steady period of growth, whether that's in myself or whatever. I can't sit still. I can't plateau. That doesn't work for me. So for me, that sweet spot, it doesn't have to be a massive peak, but just a steady, consistent period of personal growth. Mm-hmm. For me, that's important.
Do we bring this back to what we were talking about on previous episodes, where I shared, my values in life at this age now are peace and fulfillment, of finding that balance between you. So you find something. So if it was me, I do things and I grow and I learn and I can, go and chase new challenges that fulfill me, but they don't completely destroy my peace. I've got to have the balance of both of those in there. If I've got to go into a new project where I'm fulfilled, but it gets to a point where you punch through the ceiling of fulfillment, and then you're totally into achievement and striving, and peace gets completely thrown out the window. Yeah. That's where I am now putting a lot of effort in my life for trying to go, I've got to keep these two values in play. I can't go stale and stop, but I can't stay in this high energy of peak and achievement all the time, because peace, that really important value to me, gets obliterated in that.
Yeah, and I think the way that Ian just explained it, I actually realised I have found that middle ground a lot more in listening than I'd realised, and it's definitely been in the last 10 years, working my way through the stuff I've been working through. But it's also, again, it's that piece. Like, my favourite place to go is Iona Island, and I go there, and it's not because I get to switch off necessarily, which you do, but I'm then getting out for the walks, I'm having great conversation, and so it's about what I'm doing. And so when I'm in that environment, and remember to try and then bring that home with me, like, life is good. It's when the other things have knocked me off my feet that's when I kind of ping pong and trying to navigate it. But yeah, I think I've had it more often than I realised. But having done the work and the work we do, and then with my positive psychology, it's finding the peace, the thing that makes me happy and fulfilled. And also, a lot of the clients I work with, they are already really successful. And for a lot of them, they are facing burnout and lack of fulfillment. And so it's finding out where we find fulfillment in all areas. And as Ian was just saying, it's in that growth where that's actually it's a flow state where we're doing something that's a little bit challenging, but not necessarily hard. We're learning, we're growing, and we can lose ourselves in that new activity. Like, let's say for me, going to the gym and weight training, love it. So I think it's finding those moments and getting more of those.
I think it's really important that, that when I say peace is not sitting there zen-like on the sofa, not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like today, we've been here recording podcasts. I see this as part of my peace.
It's not chaos.
It's not chaos. I'm connecting, I'm talking, I'm helping others. I see that as peace, and I get some fulfillment out of it
100%.
as well. I think the key thing we need to remember is, as humans, a part of our coding is we're designed to solve problems and grow and learn. We're not actually designed as humans to just coast. We're built to figure things out, to fix things, create things, build things. That's not just ambition. It's in our biology. And when we're not doing that, something in us starts to protest.
Yes.
And it's finding that balance of like, I don't need to build the pyramids. I can actually do something at a scale that doesn't obliterate me.
I think that's really important.
It's finding that feeling when you're not on, maybe if you're in a job or whatever you're doing, on a Sunday evening where you dread Monday morning. It's that sweet spot middle ground. I think I found it more in the last year than I probably have in the last 10 years.
Well, I know, and having known you for 10 years, I see that in you. Like, that definitely. Ian's obviously known, you guys have known each other all your lives, but I've known you in this 10-year period. And I see that much more, I call it balance, but the peace, and we're content, and you're not stressing and worrying about another job and another thing that's happening. Right now, all three of us are very present in the room. We're having great chats in between recording episodes. So we've got our community, we've got our connection. I mean, these are all, these all contribute to our psychological well-being and our wellness.
It wasn't that long, you'd be here with us, and, you were waiting on phone calls, checking emails frantically, and and as much as you try and be present when you're in that state, it's incredibly difficult to do, isn't it?
The situation wouldn't allow me to be. But I've got lots of different kinds of peace. That doesn't mean quiet, because quiet doesn't always work for me. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy sitting by a pool, I enjoy reading a book, or listening to the Tickety Boo podcast.
But I've never listened to it.
But I have different kinds of peace, and like I said, it's not about quiet. And a sustained period of peace for me still involves having a purpose.
Yeah.
100%.
I can't deal with not having a purpose because my self-esteem goes downhill, my self-value, you know, all the parts that intrinsically make me
Well, make us all
feel
human.
as if I personally fall away, my identity falls away if I don't feel as if I have a purpose. And that's when then the unhelpful voices in, you know, start to come in. It's like they say, what was it? Busy hands, quiet mind.
Yeah.
But it's about finding that balance. Now, another kind of peace for me, it's everything but quiet. It's a track day, or
I was just thinking
or
of that.
skiing,
Yeah.
or going skiing.
Yeah.
I love that because I've got a little bit of challenge, a little bit of adrenaline, a sense of achievement. The period where you sat on the you sat on the lift talking to your friends, you're coming down on your own quietly, but it's something that completely engulfs me in the moment. It doesn't give space for me to be, if I'm coming down a black run or a red run or whatever, I haven't got time to be half preoccupied with, have I sent that email or has so-and-so paid the bill?
100%. You kind of jested at me yesterday when we were talking about, you know, peace and fulfillment and how did you get that when you went to see The Prodigy?
Yeah.
But weirdly, that is my peace and fulfillment. Because I went back to an era of my life that, you know, a while ago.
Well,
Nothing about The Prodigy is peaceful.
Yeah.
But you had all the great things. You had good company. You had something that you enjoy visually and audibly.
Yeah.
You had nostalgia.
Yeah.
How great is that?
Yeah,
Yep.
there's so many forms of peace, and actually, I really want to come. What you were saying for you, Ian, it's not about being quiet. For me, sometimes peace is about being quiet. So when I get onto my island, let's say, but what I love is when we can have a sense of awe and being in nature. So it's like a transcendental experience. That's another form of peace, and going for those walks, going skiing, like being out in nature and seeing that view and the opportunity, that is another, like, psychologically, it nourishes our souls. And yeah,
I think a lot of people that listen to this, though, will probably have the same issue that we historically had, which was it took us quite a long time to figure out what that activity is that brings us that.
Yeah.
We hadn't, you know, figured it out because probably we were trying to follow somebody else's blueprint of peace or fulfillment, whatever it is. You know, for me, I can sit by a pool for about 2 hours. And then the voice in my head sparks up, right, I'm bored, let's go find something to do. Read a book for a bit, right, I've had enough reading a book, go for a swim. Right, now I've done a swim. And I get restless.
yeah.
And I can relax. But there's only but to some people, they can go for a week, lie by the pool, completely switch off. And great, if that's your thing and you can do that. But what I would do was I would look at people that could do that and go, I need to become like that in order for me to be able to be relaxed and at peace. And it took a while to figure out, no, you've got your own version of that.
Yeah.
Well, when we were just saying about the fact I couldn't, sitting by a pool for a week's my idea of hell. I try and sort of humour Lou or whoever I'm with, but every 2 hours when I say I'm bored like a 3-year-old, she just points and sends me away.
Gives you a colouring book.
It does make me wonder whether I'm not good with peace and silence for prolonged periods, because maybe I'm not altogether comfortable with myself because I've got no other distractions.
Well,
Interesting.
we've talked about this. Do you remember we talked on an episode about someone that I knew that went on a kind of silent retreat?
Yes.
Where I think it was like 5 days with no speaking, no phones, just you. And that, I would love to be able to get there, but the thought of doing that, not me.
No, me either.
Not me. No, if you
It
said
would bring you anxiety.
I would rather go, let's go and get a narrow boat and do 5 days down the Great Canal or something like that and have an experience and move along at a slower pace. I would rather do something gentle and slow like that than be in complete silence for 5 days. In fact, I think I would be sent off to the asylum afterwards.
Yeah, me too. I know me too well. I'd spend the first day and a half thinking I was absolutely hilarious. and then the rest of the week wanting to punch my own head in.
And that, I don't think that means there's anything wrong with you. You know, I think quietening your mind down, yes, is something that you should practice, but you don't need to do it for like these insanely long periods of time.
Well, you don't need to. If you can just be totally disengaged from the world for a short period. My dad used to call it washing your brain. And
That's a good analogy, yeah.
I like that.
And I find it brilliant. So, you know, if I'm at the gym, I've still got my phone in my pocket or whatever. But like I said, if you're skiing or a track day or just it could be a run, whatever it is that makes you just totally present in the moment. That's what it is. It's just like a supercharged.
It's figuring out, isn't it? I think the temptation is we either go, I need to do absolutely nothing, or I need to do everything. And it's that sweet spot of passive active rest.
But at the moment, for me, it's taking quite a lot of discipline. It's so alien to me to actually stop. So I've come out this high intensity period. That's kind of settled down. I've still got bits to do, but I'm not setting the alarm clock, and I'm trying to figure it out. And it's actually really quite difficult to find that sweet spot where I still feel fulfilled.
Well, isn't that, you know, what I hear is that's actually quite a big red flag waving, because if something removes you so far from knowing, that actually we need to take a real good look at what we're doing. Because I spent years trapped in that. And when somebody says to me, what do you do to relax? I'm like, I like to watch TV or catch up with my mates. And I'm like, I couldn't really answer the question. And I think when it's like, when you've been that far removed from a baseline, you have to start going, I've either really got to figure this out so I know how to come back to baseline quicker, or not allow myself to be taken that far away from baseline.
But that's why I'm putting the work in now.
Yeah.
We were talking about, and I've actually pushed business and all sorts of stuff, social circles. I've actually pushed them away to give me the space to do that.
To figure it out.
I've taken a lot of information in over a couple of years, and now I'm very, very blessed because I've got an opportunity to do a full debrief. The things, you know, what stressed me out, what turned me into not being the best version of myself, what was good. If I go again, how do I do it better? At what intensity do I want to do it so as I enjoy the journey?
Yeah.
Because I'm long since worked out that we spend so much time on the journey. We're constantly, tomorrow, I'll celebrate tomorrow. And you forget that's when we achieve. When you've got what you think you're going to achieve or you've reached a milestone, you forget that you're actually working towards that stage for so long.
Well, I
that's
think
where you've got to find purpose.
As we head into the second halves of our lives, you know, when you suddenly go, 2 years of my life has just gone like that. Yes, there's fantastic achievements, and you know there's things in there. It's in the context. It's a lot of time.
It is,
if you know what I mean. A lot of time where we make pretty big sacrifices in our life, on our well-being, on our relationships, on this and on that. And yeah, I get it. It all feeds into a bigger picture. And I think sometimes we do need to go up to that upper ceiling of achievement to secure a future or to feed into your why. But I think it's when you keep getting ripped back there, and I'm trying really hard at the moment to throttle that back, because actually, do you know what? Weirdly, when I stay in the middle, I achieve 10 times more.
Yeah.
Well, slowing down, you actually get more done.
Yeah, do you remember the cartoon character Speedy Gonzales?
Oh, yeah.
When I'm up there at the top of the ceiling, I'm like that at 1,000 miles an hour, you know, just running around in circles. And stuff does get done, but it comes at a cost. And actually, when I'm in the middle, I'm not coasting, but I've got cruise control on at a much nicer speed. I'm burning less fuel. I'm taking the scenery in. I'm enjoying the journey. And actually, I'm picking up some really good passengers and things along that kind of journey. And I do think in that middle ground, you do get fulfillment, peace, everything you're actually achieving. And it's like, to get in, I think what you're saying to me, Ian, is I actually think I can do everything I've done up here, but here I've just got to work out the model and the system.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
And it might just be on a slightly smaller scale. It might be in a different way.
Yeah.
It might be using a different model. It might be bringing somebody else on board to share that burden. But I'm looking back, I'm processing the information, and I do know that the way I've lived the last 2 years isn't something that's sustainable.
Yeah.
For more of a, I certainly couldn't do it many times. It's got a shelf life. And I think I've reached the end of that shelf life. And now I need to just look at other ways to make that journey a bit more pleasant.
Well done on the awareness, and also for the self-reflection now, because a lot of people would not do that. And then the pause button would get released, and then it's off again. And before you know it, that's it done.
But we've said this 1,000 times. It's not necessarily what you work for. I don't see it as a number. I see it as choices. And it's getting yourself to a point in life where you've got choices, and people forget that. And they just spend so much time chasing numbers, and it becomes like a prison. Whereas actually you get to a point where you've got choices, and it's what you do with them choices that really matter. And this is, for me, I'm blessed, it's life-changing. So I've just got to think, well, what direction am I going to go on? I've got lots of choices, which I can see because I've stepped back. But if I get back on that roller coaster, everything that comes past me is like a blur. Well, I can't see the opportunity. I can't see.
Well, also, you're not enabling yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labour.
Yeah,
because you're into you're into the next thing, if you know what I mean. I get what you're saying, because like, when I'm brutally honest with myself, this not being able to find that middle thing has actually had very serious consequences in my life. And if I take total personal responsibility, it has impacted marriages, relationships, friendships, finances, my health. And, some good people, some decent people have been collateral damage of that, which I'm actually quite sorry for and remorseful about, because I was too there, if you know what I mean. And actually now coming into that middle ground, it's given me that ability to reflect and process and deal with it. And that's not a very comfortable process, by the way, of seeing what's actually happened as a byproduct of that. And I've got to take personal responsibility for that and try to do better next time.
Well, exactly what we tell everybody else to do, which is be accountable. You've just done live on air, and it's not, I could see in your eyes you wasn't comfortable with some elements of that.
No.
But that's the whole point of us having an open, honest conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the thing is, we do some of this stuff because we love it. When I was in the events world, I loved some of it. And there's a point where it went beyond being productive and actually became more about being impressive. And I was entertaining a different audience who weren't really my audience. And actually, it's really weird what happens to that audience when you stop doing it. That people change, and sometimes not for the best. They're clapping you while your performance is putting bread on the table for them, whilst they watch you personally go through the mangler. And I think, if you're listening to this episode, you've got to try and come back to this middle ground where all this self-awareness and self-reflection can come in, and it can be pretty brutal. Do you not think?
Yep.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, this actual episode's gone off in a bit of a different direction. I didn't think it was going to go where it went, but I think it's an important one, because I think it'd be tragic to get into the last phase of life and figure this out. I'm glad I figured this out at 50 rather than 70, because I've still got health, mobility, fitness, my faculties to go and do things in a way that I'm much happier doing them, I think I'd be really pissed off at 70 figuring this out.
But sometimes you just wouldn't know because you've not. And this is the thing, it's, you know, down to the slightly more miserable side of it, pain was never meant to be a permanent thing.
Yeah.
It was meant to be something to help you prepare yourself to be the person that you said you wanted to be. It's part of a growing and learning experience.
Yeah.
And if you stay trapped within that, unfortunately, you don't get the benefits of the learning. If you can sort of reflect, take the learnings with it. Don't just take everything as a punishment. Take it as a lesson. And then as we grow, we evolve. And then all the time, you know, like, then your journey's, you know, it's not static. You're moving, you're not repeating the same, not trapped in the same cycles. You know, and that's where the really cool stuff happens.
Oh, it is. It's really freeing when you get to that space.
The sense of fulfillment you get when you come through the other side of that challenge and pain,
I think it's that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you just feel lighter.
Yeah.
Without it, you know, but you have to go through the discomfort to get there. And I think, you know, if you're listening to this right now, maybe start to pick one small area in your life that you can get some space back for yourself, or, you know, do something for you and bring yourself. If there is, you know, that ceiling of Burnout and down here is the floor, you know, the basement floor of BoreOut, of having that middle ground of, you know, for me it's fulfillment, peace, whatever your values are, get them just either side of that middle line and see if you can figure out that middle space. And that's different for everybody. That looks different. So we're certainly not telling you how to do that, but if you can, dedicate some of your time to get there, because the quality of your life and your relationships and your success will be much, much better in your life. Well, I think that kind of wraps this episode up. As always, we massively appreciate you watching and listening, and we look forward to catching you in the next episode of Tickety Boo.
Before we go, if you're going through something right now, please do talk to somebody. A friend, a family member, anyone you trust. And if you need a bit more support, contact your GP or NHS 24 on 111 or the Samaritans on 116123. They are always at the end of a phone, or alternatively, visit the Peace of Mind website. Links are in the episode description. You are not alone in this. Take care of yourselves. Catch you in the next episode.